Hey everyone, I'm Virtual Tyler. I'm going to teach you all about disc golf for sports camp. This week we're going to learn the rules to the game, how to score the game. We're going to learn about how to throw a putter, a mid-range, and a driver. And at the end of the week, we're even going to see some live footage of how to play the game. So let's have some fun. Let's get to it. Thank you, Virtual Tyler. So, hey guys, we're here to talk about disc golf. But before we can actually get to the rules and how to play, we got to talk about what we need to play. And we're going to need 3 different discs in order to play the actual game of disc golf. And you can get these discs at your local store, like a Walmart. Any sporting goods store usually sells them online, or if you went to camp in the past, you should already have about 3 of these discs ready to go that they gave out. So let's talk about what kind of disc you need and what they are. So your first disc that you need is a putter. This will be used for close ranges. It's a very thick disc in height, but it has a thin rim going along here. It's heavy and it's meant to fly very straight, and you'll need this to putt. We'll talk about all these discs and how to use them in separate videos on the course. So the next one you'll need is for a little farther out. It's called your mid-range. This is your shots that are anything past 40 feet, but not your first initial drive. So these discs are medium in thickness of height. They have slightly thicker rim, and on the front of all these, as you can see, this one says putter. It'll tell you what they have. So you have putter, you have mid-range, says it right here. And then last but not least, we have our distance drivers. And our distance drivers are the ones that you're gonna throw right off your very first throw. It's the farthest throw. They're very thin in height. They have a really thick rim, if you can see, and they fly really far. So there's a bunch of different kinds of these. If you want to go to the store and look at them, that would be great. If you can't make it to the store though, you could always get a Frisbee, which I do not have with me right now, but I'll pop up a picture right here. Or I found a plastic plate. Went into my mom's cabinet, found a plastic plate, and I decided that this would be a good thing to practice around the house. As long as everyone in the house is okay with it and you're not tearing anything up, I thought a good idea was this plastic plate. I got a basket, and look at that. You could toss in the basket, get some practice in the house during quarantine. So these are just other ideas on what you could use as disc. So a Frisbee, a hula hoop would work. Anything that you can think of, a tree outside, anything would be great to use as a disc to get some practice before you make it to the course. All right, so we're almost ready to talk about the rules and how to play. But before we play, we got to make sure we're ready, we're safe, we got everything we need, okay? So first, what do we need to wear? I like to wear a hat. It keeps the sun off my face. I got my glasses. I have my t-shirt. You could wear a t-shirt if it's cold. Put a jacket on. Athletic. I have athletic shorts on. Athletic pants if it's cold. And tennis shoes. We don't wear flip-flops. We don't wear open-toed shoes. Tennis shoes are good. Okay? So, what do we need to bring with us? Obviously, we need our disc, which we talked about. Okay? We bring our disc, what we have. What next? It's gonna be hot out most of the time when you're playing. You're gonna need water. So bring a water bottle. It gets hot. There's 18 holes, which we'll talk about. It's a lot of walking. You'll get tired, bring water, you can take breaks. What else do we need? A snack. You don't have to bring a snack, but if you think you might get hungry, the nutrition might help you get through the walk, bring a snack. A granola bar is good. It's small. Keep it in your bag just in case. Next, sunscreen. Very important. You don't want to be getting burnt out there. So sunscreen, very, very important. Next, if you have one, a phone. And if you don't have a phone, tell someone or bring someone with you to play. You want to be safe out there. Make sure someone knows where you're at. Have a buddy with you. Have someone, or have a phone if you're by yourself. That way you can call for help if you need it. And lastly, a bag would be great. Some kind of bag to put your disc in, your phone, your sunscreen, your water bottle, everything you need to carry around to play to have a good day and be safe. So, safety first. Now we can talk about the rules. So now that we learned what we need to bring to the disc golf course, let's start to learn the rules. And to learn the rules, we need to know how to score the game. Points are very important, and instead of getting the most points like most sports, in this sport, it's like golf. You go for the lowest score possible. The lowest score wins. So let's learn about it. Here's a picture that shows you exactly how to score disc golf. Just like golf, the lowest score wins, and there's a few terms you're going to need to know when you go out on the course to understand how the scoring works. The first term that you really want to know is par. Par means that's how many strokes you can have in order to get to the basket without losing nor gaining any points. You would go what's called even. Breaking even is a good thing. That means you didn't gain any points, but you also didn't lose any. So you really want to focus on what the par is. I shot a video of me at the disc golf course that shows you where to find the par for each hole. Each hole is different. It'll give you the par, which is the number of strokes you have to go even. And here's the video showing how to find it. All right, so here is an example of a tee pad. If you can see, right here, this green pad right here. Some will be dirt, some will be concrete, but they're always in this rectangular shape. And right next to it, if you come over here, you'll see, get close right here. First we have a sign. All of them will have a sign. Some of them are better than others. On this one, it tells you real well. It says the hole number, so you find your hole number. It gives you a direction of where you're going. It tells you your par, which is, this one is par 3, so you have 3 tries to get it there without gaining or losing any points. And it tells you how far the throw is. On some of them, you'll just have a number and hopefully a par. If you don't have a par, usually the golden rule is going to be a par 3. And if it's not, they'll usually tell you if it's anything more. So par 3 is where most of them will be. And so if you only have a number, go ahead and assume that it's a par 3. Okay, so now you know where to find the par. Let's assume we're playing a par 3. So we have 3 shots to get it to the basket. If we do more than 3 shots, for every shot over the 3rd shot, we get 1 extra point to our score. For any shot or any throws under 3 shots, we get 1 score minus. So let's take a look at the picture below to better help understand this. Okay, so let's look now at the picture. And par, which we're setting at 3, is what means we have 3 shots to break even, which is the E to the left of par. Any shots over par are called bogeys. So every shot, your 4th shot, your 5th shot, all those add points. So +1, +2, +3, and those are bad. Anything under take away points, and those are called birdies. Those are good. So to help score, here's a scorecard. You can sometimes find them at a disc golf course, which I have a video that I'll show, But if not, you can print it off, and it really helps to keep score while you're playing. There's 18 holes. You can put the par at each hole, and then underneath you put how many strokes or throws that it took you to get it in on that hole. And then at the end you add it all up, and that's how you keep score. So when you get to a course, you want to look for there normally always be a welcome sign. So if you can see it right over there, there's a big sign. You can walk up to it. We'll walk over here. If you walk up to it, you can see it normally has a map. This one even has some scorecards for you. It'll show you, look for your first hole, you can find it. So now we know how to score the game. Let's talk about how to play the actual game of disc golf. First, when you get to the course, you're going to have to look for the first hole, hole number 1. In disc golf, there's 18 holes total, and you'll play all of them, scoring each one and adding it all up to see who has the lowest score to win at the end. So look for the tee pad, and then let's find the first sign. Okay, now it's time to play. You're going to do the same thing for each of the 18 holes. You're going to take turns with whoever you're playing with, starting throwing from the tee pad using your driver, and then you're going to take your next shot from wherever your disc lands. Here's a video that best shows how to stand by your disc and shoot your next shot by wherever the last shot you took landed. So this is his second shot. He steps by the disc and he has to choose whether to use a mid-range or a putter. So let's take a look. All right, so Gavin landed about 100 feet away from the hole. So he pulled out, if you can see,
a mid-range.
He's got a mid-range. He's gonna use his mid-range and get it as close up. He landed it right next to the hole, so let's go. Okay, you have to stand exactly where it lands to take your next shot until you make it in the basket, okay? The first is a thing called a dogleg, which I have a video of here. Got a double mando here. So you have to stay on this side of this tree. And this side of this tree over here. That explains it. A dogleg is a mandatory way that you have to throw the disc. So normally they'll be on trees and you have to go whichever way the mandatory sign is pointing, you have to go around that way. Otherwise, you lose a stroke and you have to add a throw on to your score. Okay, so make sure you go around them. Okay, I think that's all the rules. Make sure you're careful out there. There's mud. I have a video I'll show, an extra video. You going in? All right, guys. So sometimes when you're throwing, you got obstacles. So you might want to bring a towel. You see Dylan? He got some mud going on here. Full of water. He's going in. And you're gonna have to play the disc from where it lies if you want to move it to the closest, safest place to throw. But technically you should throw it from where it lands. So good luck. So, you know, it's very messy out there, so find your disc, throw them, make sure you get the lowest score you can, practice aiming at that hole, and I think we're ready to start learning about our next, how to throw the disc, what disc to throw, and get ready for the week. Let's do it. Welcome back everyone for another disc golf video today. It's Virtual Tyler and I'm here to talk about driving today. We're gonna learn how to hold the driver, what the driver is, when to use it, everything you can think of, and even some drills at the end. So let's do it. Alrighty, so we are back again, another video talking about our different discs. Remember, we have our putter, we have our mid-range, and we have our driver. So today we're going to be talking about our driver. So to get a better look, it's our thinner disc with a thicker rim, and it's made to go very far. It's going to fly really fast and really far, okay? So make sure you're looking for this disc and get ready to throw. Okay, here's a picture that will help you find your driver. You got your driver on top, your mid-range in the middle, and your putter on the bottom. Your driver is the real thin one in height, so look for it. Get ready for the video, okay, so you can practice. Quick tip, if you do not have the driver, it is okay to use a Frisbee. So get a Frisbee, get it out, do all the same steps. It might not go as far and do exactly the same as the disc golf, but it is still good practice, okay? So get that Frisbee out there, get playing, get learning the game. It's always fun, okay? All right, so before we talk about how to hold the disc or how to stand when throwing the disc, let's first talk about where and when we're going to use our driver. So we're talking about our driver today. It goes the farthest. It is a very quick disc. So we're going to need to use this on our very first throw, our farthest throw. So when you get up, you have your tee pad. You're going to use it off the tee pad. And you're going to use this disc. If you can see, we're going to take a spin and we're going to look out here. We have all the way over there to throw this disc. So we need to use this disc at a far distance. So you want to use this on your first throw, and if your first throw does not go too far, it's okay to use your driver again for far throws, okay? Okay guys, so before we get into our next thing, we need to learn about the two ways to throw a disc. You got forehand and you have backhand. In this picture, you can see the backhand. It is the most used and common way to throw it. It's kind of like throwing a Frisbee, but a little different. And we will talk about how to stand and how to hold the disc, but I wanted to give you a picture of what I was referring to as backhand. And here's a video clip of backhand in use. So the next throw that I wanted to inform you about is the forehand throw. It's shown here in the picture. It is not used as commonly, but it is good to learn and practice for different obstacles and challenges. Also, you can get a lot more power when you're throwing like this to throw it farther. So it's something I wanted to teach you guys and include in the video. And here's another demonstration for you right after this. Okay, we have our distance driver here, and today we're going to learn how to throw it, when to throw it, what to do with it. First, we're going to talk about how to hold it, okay? So, we learned about our forehand and our backhand. Forehand, backhand. There's two different ways you're going to hold the disc, and it's very important because it's a little different than throwing your Frisbee. In order to hold the disc, to get it to go as far and as fast as possible, okay? So if we're gonna talk about backhand, which we're gonna talk about first, that's this throw, we're gonna hold it in a thing called the power grip. This is very important to know because you'll use this for your mid-range and your putter occasionally, okay? So for the power grip, you're gonna wanna grab the disc, put your hand up against the side, put your thumb straight along the edge, and then on the back, you see the rim here. We got our thick rim. You're gonna put all four fingers real firm and tight, just like that, going along the rim of the disc, holding it. So that's your power grip. You're gonna wanna make sure you hold it firm, not too tight, but firm enough that it doesn't wobble coming out of your hand, okay? So that's how you hold the disc for the backhand. Now, let's talk about our forehand. So our forehand's very important as well. It's a good skill to know. Not many people use this throw. It's kind of a more advanced way to throw it. So you hold the disc differently when you're throwing forehand. So you're gonna take 2 fingers. I have 2 fingers up. You're gonna put them along the inside rim of the disc, and then you're gonna put your thumb straight towards the center of the disc. Okay? You can kind of angle it if you want to, however it's comfortable, but sort of towards the middle. And then when you're holding it, you want to hold the disc nice and flat, which we'll talk about in our stance video, how we're gonna hold it. But that's how your fingers should be. 2 fingers firm and tight along the rim, your middle finger and your pointer finger, and your thumb going towards the middle, okay? So that's how you hold the disc for your forehand. Okay, let's talk about our stance and how we're gonna stand to throw this disc. So we're gonna talk about our backhand first. That's how we throw it, sort of like a frisbee. So remember, no matter how you're throwing it, you want all 4 fingers along the rim and 1 going along the edge of the disc on the top, your thumb. Remember, that's the power grip. So now for our stance. If you can run and you're able to run safely, then we're gonna wanna run up to get more power. Unlike putting and your mid-range where you're stationary, this one you wanna run up. You have this whole tee pad, if you can see, you have the whole tee pad to use to get more power. If you can't run up, it's okay, which I'll show you, to stand stationary and throw. But first, let's talk about the running one. So you're gonna have your power grip. You're gonna start at the back of the tee pad. Usually, you're gonna do this in 2.5 steps, okay? 3 steps. You're gonna start off by getting ready. You wanna look, find your target, where you wanna throw. You wanna have your hand, okay? So if we tilt the disc this way and throw it, it's gonna fly to the left. If we tilt the disc more this way with our hand and throw it, it's gonna fly more to the right. Okay, so remember that. If we throw it flat and straight, that is your best way of getting it to go straight. So we wanna throw as flat as possible and tilt it left or right, depending on where we're aiming, okay? So this is a nice far throw. So we wanna back up, look where we're throwing it, figure out how we wanna let it release. We want our dominant foot. You wanna take your first step with your dominant foot. So I take 1 step. On your second step with your non-dominant foot, you wanna plant that at where you're gonna aim, okay? So I'm aiming straight ahead. So I plant it straight. The next step, you're gonna spin just a little bit. And you're gonna come back. You wanna use all here in the hips. You wanna use your legs, knees bent, in your hips. Make sure you're spinning. That's how you're gonna open. So you wanna get your disc ready, how you're gonna throw it. And on that last step, that's when you're gonna drive through and throw. So let's take a quicker look at this, okay? So I'm ready here. I'm gonna take first step, second step, third step, spin in it, and get ready to release, okay? So let's, final one, I'm gonna throw it this time, so pay attention, okay? Here we go. Okay? So I threw it, I got a nice throw. I released it slightly that way. It went a little bit to the left, okay? So we really want to focus on that. I'm gonna grab another disc here to show you for a stationary throw, in case we don't want to do that run-up one, we're gonna plant our dominant foot here. We're gonna stand at the front of the tee pad for this because we want to get as far as or close as possible to the hole. Plant our front foot, have our back one, and we're gonna stand there. Same grip, the power grip. We're gonna stand back, we're gonna twist our hips, get as much power with our back leg and our hips. We're gonna spin back here, and we're gonna give it a good toss. If you spin, whatever, you wanna make sure you're safe, stay on the tee pad, okay? Throw it as far as possible. Okay, so let's talk about our next one, and that's our forehand. This is a more complicated one, but it is very good for when you're in tough situations around a tree, and it's the best to throw it this way, or you can get quite a bit of power on this throw. So it's a good one if you want to work on learning how to throw it. I'm going to teach it. It's a good idea to start learning how to get, because you want to be able to throw backhand and forehand to better your game, okay? So forehand, remember I taught you how to hold it, 2 fingers, thumb going towards the middle, okay? Just like the other one, we're gonna start back here, and we're gonna make our run up. But this one gets a little more complicated because if you can, as you see, my legs cross behind. So this one can be done stationary, but I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do this. We're gonna take a step, then take a step behind, and then a step forward. Okay, it's a lot, but let's run it slowly again. Step, step, back, step. Here, we're really getting low. So this is our squat, okay? We do squats to warm up. This is our squat position. There's a lot of power to be driven out of our legs here, okay? And then we can twist and use our hips to get even more power, okay? So you're here, your arm flat, again, disc flat, back here, as far back as you can go. And that's when you're gonna twist and release. So let's put it all together, okay? I'm gonna throw this one. I'll slow it down for you in the video. Let's see how it goes all together. Okay, so that's how the forehand is done. It can be done here. It can also be done right here. You want to put both legs so you can step forward. It can be done stationary. You could stay right here and give it a good toss. That will be good when using your mid-ranges in the trees, using your drivers here if it's a little too complicated to run up. But practice both ways. Get used to it. Learn how to do it. That's the forehand.
Hey, I'm back. So now that you've learned how to use your driver, where to use it, let's talk about how you can practice. So here's a video about talking about going to the park and practice. I recommend you guys learning the practice how to hold it, practice your toss. If you can, go out there today, really try to learn either the competition I'm going to teach you or the drills and get some practice at the park. I recommend going out today and practicing.
Okay, so now we talked about how to hold the disc, where to throw the disc, and where, for our driver. So let's talk about a drill on how to practice. So our driver goes really far. So not all of us have ginormous backyards. So this one you might want to take a trip with a friend or make sure someone knows where you're at and go to the park. Any open field would work great, okay? Go to either a disc golf course. You can always play around and throw from the first hole and use the tee pad, or you can go to the practice hole, or just any open area, okay? And you're gonna wanna stand, have a nice open field at the park. You're gonna just practice running up, throwing it as far as you can. If you want to, go ahead and take your bag, take another disc, put it out in the field and aim for that, okay? So that way you're getting the idea of aiming towards something. You're gonna wanna put it as farther than you can probably throw, because your first throw won't go all the way to the basket. And you wanna practice throwing it as far as you can and as accurately as you can. You don't want any hooking off to the right, hooking off to the left. We wanna get it going straight at where the target that we're aiming. So that's a good way to practice. Get out there, get some throws, okay?
Okay, so here's a fun game for you guys to try out. It's for distance driving. So we want to learn how to throw the disc farther and farther. So using the right technique, challenge a friend to see who can throw the disc the farthest. It has to go straight within the bounds. To the left, too far to the left and too far to the right is out of bounds. So whoever can throw the farthest throw within the parameters wins.